one of those meals where it wasn't the occasion that inspired the menu. It's actually the food, which is my excuse for having some friends over for a dinner party. So I want to get into that retro 50s midsummer sensation. But I'm going to start with the biscuits. I need a teaspoon and a quarter of yeast. And this is the instant quick rise yeast. A tablespoon and a half of lukewarm water. And just a pinch of sugar. I'll just let that sit. And then for my dry ingredients, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon each of baking soda and baking powder, and half a teaspoon of fine salt, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. And half a cup of cold unsalted butter. I'm just going to break this into rough pieces into the flour and just work it in a little bit. Now, to measure a cup of the buttermilk, and then stir that yeast mixture into it. And add it all at once to the biscuit dough. It's a little drier than a bread dough, but it definitely has a tenderness and a give when you stir it. I am going to finish mixing it out on my table. So it's soft, but it still doesn't cling to my fingers too much. And I'll wrap it with plastic wrap loosely because it will expand as it sits in the refrigerator. Put that in the fridge. I'll let those angel biscuits just rise and get all floaty for a couple hours, and then I can get the chicken marinating at the same time. So I'm working with the buttermilk again. The buttermilk has a tanginess which seems to bring out or highlight the sweetness in the chicken, and at the same time it's thick. Ooh, that's what gives you that ruffly, crispy exterior to good fried chicken that holds in the sweet, moist inside. I will work in a little bit of flavor, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and then I add a tablespoon and a half of salt and 2 teaspoons of black pepper, and that is a lot, but not all of it will actually make it onto the chicken and into the frying oil. And just a pinch of cayenne pepper. Whisk this together. It takes a lot of pepper and a lot of salt in the marinade because most of this will actually drip off of the chicken before it hits the fryer. And now for the chicken. What I've bought is a fryer chicken. And a fryer chicken is typically a little smaller than a roasting chicken, 2.5 to 3.5 pounds. So I've got a thigh piece here. I like to leave a little bit of the skin on because that's what the buttermilk and then the flour sticks to, and you get the really crispy bits. But excessive bits of fat, I trim off. But that's an appropriate size piece. The chicken breast piece has been left with the wing on, and that's easy to take care of. Move the wing, and where you see it gives, that's where you make the incision, and your knife can cut right through the cartilage. And then the chicken breast is such a larger portion that I'll actually split it into 2 pieces. And this isn't just because of portioning, it also is because that way the cooking time is proportionate. The legs go in on their own. And as it sits in the fridge over the next few hours, I'll flip it now and again. That way that buttermilk coats and gets in, seeps into the chicken a little bit. I'll cover this up, pop it in the fridge, do a super sanitize in the kitchen, and then in a little while it'll be time to bake off those biscuits and fry some chicken.